What is up, my fellow Harley riders? This is T-Pop here, and this video idea has kind of been brewing in the works for over a year now. And now I think it is about time that I finally make this video. Now, I highly doubt really anyone in my audience knows who this person is, but if you are curious, there is a YouTuber by the name of Amiri. If you're asking what type of content he makes a lot of content centered around hip hop and rap and that type of stuff. Now, I'm not the hugest fan of rap. I mean, I do like listening to it, depending on what mood I'm in, but it's not like my main focus. But I like watching Amiri. I think he's a very entertaining guy to watch, and he is pretty opinionated. And I think the videos that he's made topics on, or topics that he's made videos on, are pretty interesting and can even enlighten me in certain areas. And one of the videos that I think very explains this pretty well would be his video, My 5 Controversial Music Opinions. And specifically at the 4 and 5 option, we're going to talk about the 5th one later. But for the 4th one, I thought it was pretty, I guess you'd say pretty based. And yeah, if you're asking what that one was about, it's basically talking about kind of the old head versus new generation era of music listeners, and how old heads really do not like it when new age people or new age kids don't want to listen to the stuff that they grew up with. And this got me thinking, could this apply to any other demographic for certain pieces of media? Well, yes. And one that I think it can be hugely applied to is TV shows, cartoons, and movies to an extent. Crap, I think it should be even more applied to this than rap music, but maybe I'm crazy with that, I don't know, but now time to actually, I guess you'd say, talk about the discussion of the video. A lot of older people, particularly from the 80s and 90s period, tend to really not like it when people from the 2000s and 2010s pretty well. And I think more people from the 2000s are starting to adopt this mindset, but they really do not like it when, let's say, Gen Z or new generation people don't want to watch the shows that they grew up on. And, again, this got me thinking, and I think it's about time that I guess you'd say, stand up and shout this hot take. I do not care what the new age generation of kids is interested in playing or watching or listening to. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people seem to think the opposite thing. And usually when these people decide to talk about the new age generation of kids, 99.99% of the time it's going to be trashing them for not wanting to watch the stuff that the older people grew up on, or saying that the shows that today's kids watch are nothing compared to stuff that we grew up with. And yeah, it's an insanely freaking judgmental mindset. And talk about my side for a bit and why I espouse that hot take is, I really don't give two shits what the new age generation of kids want to watch. I mean, yeah, sure, if I end up having a kid, I will probably try to show them some of the shows that I maybe grew up on, or some of the stuff that I enjoyed when I was younger. However, I'm not going to bitch and complain if my kid says that they don't want to watch that stuff and want to watch something different, like, let's say, something from the time that they were born in. Like, if they want to do that, I personally don't care. However, some people really tend to do. And I know this is insanely freaking random to pull, but I remember Savage Gamer 1998 I think he said in a live stream that new age kids need to grow up with the good stuff that we grew up on, or the good stuff that we watched. And I actually clipped that part from the live stream. here it is. I did speed it up a little bit because, not trying to trash Savage Gamer, but he does kind of talk a little bit slow. But again, I'll try to speed it up to a point to where you can at least still understand what he's saying. But anyways, roll the clip.
It's where future kids need to grow up on the good stuff, like we have. Like, I'm thinking you should grow up on Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, Sonic X, SpongeBob, classic episodes. The original Pokemon anime, Rugrats.
Future kids need to grow up on the good stuff like we have. Yeah, I cannot take Savage Gamer's side on this one. Now, let me make this clear. There is nothing wrong with wanting to show some of the kids from the future generations some of the stuff that you grew up on. There is nothing inherently wrong with that. However, when it becomes an issue is when you get insanely judgmental on the stuff. Now, I know he didn't outright say it, but I've heard similar stuff from other people kind of trying to argue the same thing, mainly in the form of saying stuff like, I can't believe kids nowadays want to watch these new shows but don't want to watch some of the older shows that I grew up with. Why? But, yeah, it's, in my opinion, a load of horseshit. Now, again, there is nothing, like I said, there's nothing wrong with in wanting to show some of the newer kids some of the, quote, good stuff, but I don't think you should try and force it on them. And another thing I think we should take into consideration is that literally every single show that he mentioned it's pretty much just 90s shows. Now, I know Sonic X came out in 03, but still, I'm just saying, I don't think we should have kids from the newer generations just all watching 90s shows and exclusively that. Now, personally, I am more of, I guess you'd say, a fan of retro shows than I am of a decent chunk of the modern stuff, but I'm not going to discourage, I guess you'd say, new age kids from checking out stuff from the 2010s. Crap, I will admit, there are a lot of good shows and good pieces of media from this era, and crap, I've even been trying, I guess you could say, expand my horizons and check out more of newer stuff, and yeah, that's all I really have to say there. Now on to the second part, where we're going to be referencing point 5 from that Amiri video. So, for opinion number 5 from Amiri's video on his most controversial rap opinions, he states that he's one of the people that have a cutoff year. Now, if you're asking what is cutoff year and what that even means, a cutoff year is basically the period where that's pretty much either the extent or how much you want to go back when it comes to checking out new stuff. And, yeah, his cutoff year was the 2000s, and basically, or his cutoff year was 2000, because he considers a lot of stuff from before that period to be, like, way too far back for him. Now, at first, I didn't really agree with him or see where he was coming from on this point, because I was like, oh, there's good stuff from all the decades, and yeah, I still trying to stand by a bit of that, but to be quite frank, I think I'm kind of starting to realize that I actually have a kind of a cut-off set of years as well. Now, what I mean by that is, let's just say this could also partially explain why a lot of the stuff in my collection mainly consists of stuff from kind of the mid-90s to, I guess you'd say, mid-2010s period. That's kind of just a rough estimation, but the main reason why that's the case is just, I don't know. That's just mainly the stuff that I'm into, and a lot of stuff from that period, I think I could say I could fairly easily get into and could enjoy either watching or playing or stuff like that. But I'm just saying, most stuff before 1995, or let's just say also a lot of stuff past 2015, let's just say there's not a very high chance that I'm going to be interested in watching it. Now, again, I know some people in my audience would probably try to use my own logic against me, saying, oh, but Malachi, there's a lot of good stuff before 1995, and also good stuff after 2015. Now, the thing is, I am very sure that there is. However, I'm just saying, I think most of the stuff, or some of the stuff before 1995 would kind of just be, again, a bit, I guess you'd say, way too before my time, I guess you'd say. Well, mainly if you ask me to go back to something like, let's say from the early 80s or like 70s or something, then yeah, that's mainly where I'm just saying no. But again, I'm not saying I would never check out stuff from before, after those cutoff years, because I mean, there is stuff in my collection and stuff that I have played and watched and am interested in that are from before that kind of cutoff year that I set, but yeah, that's all I really have to say regarding this video. See you guys in the next one.